There comes a moment in the process of manifestation where things start to feel different, not necessarily better, not immediately successful, but different in a way you cannot fully explain. It is subtle at first. You begin to notice small shifts. Your thoughts feel slightly calmer. Your reactions are not as intense as before. Situations that once triggered you no longer hold the same power. And yet, at the same time, something strange begins to happen. Doubt may increase. Old fears may resurface. External situations may seem like they are not improving, or in some cases even getting worse. Most people see this and assume one thing: it's not working. So they stop. They give up just before everything begins to change. But what if these moments are not signs of failure? What if they are actually signs that your manifestation is closer than you think? The truth is, manifestation does not always feel like progress in the way you expect. Sometimes the biggest shifts happen internally before they ever appear externally. And there are certain signs, very specific ones, that indicate you are on the edge of a breakthrough. In this video, you are going to understand two powerful signs that most people overlook. Signs that show your reality is already shifting beneath the surface. Signs that mean you are closer than ever. But you must learn to recognize them. Because if you misunderstand these signs, you will walk away at the exact moment everything was about to change. SIG, one inner detachment, and calm. The first sign that your manifestation is close is something most people completely misunderstand. It is not excitement. It is not constant happiness. It is calm, a deep, quiet sense of detachment. At the beginning of the manifestation process, there is usually a lot of emotional intensity. You think about your desire constantly. You feel excited one moment and doubtful the next. Your mind is active, searching, questioning, trying to control the outcome. But as you move closer to your manifestation, something begins to shift internally. The emotional charge starts to fade. You no longer feel the same urgency. The need to constantly check, force, or figure things out begins to disappear. At first, this can feel confusing. You might even think you are losing interest. You might ask yourself, do I still want this? But this is not loss of desire. This is alignment. When you are no longer desperate for something, it means you are no longer identifying with the lack of it. You are no longer focused on not having. Instead, your mind has accepted the possibility of it so deeply that it feels normal. This is why calmness is such a powerful sign, because calm does not come from uncertainty. It comes from inner certainty. Think about something you already have in your life. You do not feel desperate about it. You do not constantly think about losing it. It simply exists as part of your reality. This is the same state your mind enters when your manifestation is close. You stop chasing. You stop overthinking. You stop needing constant reassurance. And in that space, something powerful happens. You become receptive. Your energy is no longer scattered by doubt and urgency. It becomes stable, and stability is what allows things to materialize. Most people never reach this point because they mistake calmness for failure. They think they need to feel intense emotion to manifest something. But intensity often comes from lack. Calm comes from lack. Calm comes from alignment. And alignment is where manifestation begins to take form. SIGN, two old patterns, resurface. The second sign is one that almost everyone misinterprets. Right before your manifestation comes into reality, your old patterns often come back stronger. Old thoughts, old fears, old habits. It can feel like you are going backwards. You might suddenly experience doubt again. You might feel triggered by things you thought you had already overcome. Situations may arise that seem to contradict everything you have been working toward. This is the moment where most people give up. They believe that all their progress has disappeared. But what is actually happening is very different. This is a release. Your mind is bringing old patterns to the surface, not to pull you back, but to clear them. Think of it like this. You cannot fully step into a new version of yourself while holding on to the old one. So before the shift is complete, everything that no longer aligns begins to rise. Not to stay, but to be seen and let go. This is why these moments feel intense. Because you are being given a choice. Will you return to your old identity, or will you remain in your new one? Every time you choose not to react the old way, you weaken that pattern. Every time you stay aligned despite the discomfort, you strengthen your new state. This is the final test, not from the outside but from within. And it is not meant to stop you. It is meant to confirm who you are becoming. When you understand this, everything changes. You stop fearing these moments. You stop seeing them as setbacks. Instead, you recognize them as signs of transformation, because nothing rises to the surface unless it is ready to leave. Staying aligned until it manifests. Once you recognize these two signs, the most important thing becomes clear. Do not break your state. This is where everything comes together. Most people do the work of aligning their thoughts, shifting their mindset, and building belief, but they lose it in the final stage. They react too quickly. They let temporary emotions control their decisions. They interpret situations based on fear instead of understanding. And in doing so, they interrupt their own process. But when you remain steady, something powerful happens. Your internal state stops fluctuating. You are no longer reacting to every small change. You are no longer dependent on immediate results. You trust the process, not blindly, but because you understand it. You understand that calm means alignment. You understand that resurfacing patterns mean release. And because of this understanding, you do not panic. You remain consistent. Consistency is what stabilizes your state. Consistency is what stabilizes your state. And when your state becomes stable, your external reality has no choice but to reflect it. This is not about forcing belief. It is about maintaining direction. Even when nothing seems to be happening, even when things feel uncertain, even when your mind tries to pull you back, you stay, you observe, you choose alignment again and again. And eventually something shifts, not suddenly, but naturally. The thing you were waiting for begins to appear, not as something surprising, but as something that feels expected. Because internally, you were already there. If you see these two signs in your life, do not ignore them. Do not doubt them. And most importantly, do not walk away. Calmness is not emptiness, it is alignment. And resurfacing old patterns is not failure, it is release. These are the moments where most people quit. But these are also the moments where everything begins to change. So if you find yourself feeling calm without knowing why, if you notice old thoughts trying to return, take a step back and recognize what is happening. You are not going backwards. You are moving through the final stage. Stay steady, stay aware, stay aligned, because your manifestation is not far away. It is closer than it has ever been, and the only thing left is for you to remain in the state long enough to receive it.